value of wrestling, the revolutionary force in wrestling podcasting.
This is the Value of Wrestling on the Big Tyme, and I'm here with some great news. Are you a Funko Pop collector? Are you searching for some hard-to-find Funko Pops? Are you just looking to complete a collection? Well, the Value of Wrestling is teamed up with the Goldmine. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Goldmine, which can be found on Facebook, or by going to the description below and clicking the link, you can sign up to join the Goldmine, who will help you find those hard-to-find, rare pops. They'll help you complete your collection. Just let them know when you're signing up what Funko Pops you're looking for, and that the Value of Wrestling sent you. The Goldmine, the ones that are going to help you to find those rare to find pops and help you finish your collection. All can be done at the Goldmine. Sign up today and make sure you tell them the Value of Wrestling sent you.
It's your boy Miguel Z with the Value of Wrestling New Japan Rebound Podcast. I've got a guest for you folks at StocktonCon.
What up, everybody? AJ Kirsch here, the voice and the host of StocktonCon. The Value of Wrestling is awesome, so subscribe on YouTube. Scan the QR code right here, now. Subscribe, check it out.
There we go.
You'll be glad you did.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, that's what. Hey, man, shout out the Value of Wrestling. I'm right here with the Big O's, San Jose. We gonna shut the shit down. Love and respect, though, right? Value of Wrestling. Hello.
Man, thank you, brother. Thank
Oh, you didn't know? You better call somebody, because the boys are live right here on Sunday night, coming to you on the Value of Wrestling. This is your weekly roundup podcast. We are here. We're sorry about the delay due to technical issues and some I can talk. I swear I can talk due to conflict issues with scheduling conflicts. I was going to get there eventually, but I got there. We had to reschedule for 9 o'clock tonight, and we are here. We are live. We hope you join us and join in the chat, join in the conversation. We got a lot to cover tonight. We're going to talk about Tony Khan. We're going to talk about what happened at the end of Dynamite. We're going to talk about Tony Khan's comments on live TV. Oh boy, Swerve Strickland, what's going on there? Drew McIntyre re-signing with the WWE. Darby Allin getting hit by a bus. Brody King proclaiming he's the one who hit him. And, lots of other big news. And I see we're back to technical difficulties. All right. I think we're back up and maybe running. On a delay?
Looks good on my end.
Okay.
I think so.
AT&T looking pretty tonight. But all right. Anyways, introducing my co-host here.
Don't say nothing.
Yeah, well, hey, as long as you're not a New Japan wrestler signing to go to AEW, you should be okay. No comment. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, our New Japan Pro Wrestling expert, Miguel Z, and of course, the mastermind of all of it, the one, Mr. Paulus Clarke. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. What you want to talk about? Where should we start? Do we want to start on some positives, or should we just light the place on fire and go scorched earth?
I'm still not blocked by the Bucks, but we can go and scorch all we want.
Well, I mean, scorched earth is going to be. I'm about to go off on Tony. I don't know if we want to do that right out the gate, or if we want to try and ease in gently and take it nice and slow instead of just fast and hard and jump right into it. I don't know if we want to go deep in and, take it easy, do it gentle.
I'm trying to find a way of saying something without being as crass as the initial way I'm thinking. I'm trying not to get us thrown off air or anything.
Are we going to take off the Band-Aid nice and slow, or are we going to rip it off and take the hairs with it?
Just rip it off.
Rip it off.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get into it because I've had enough.
Have you? How do you feel about Shibata? How do you feel about the use of Shibata on AEW? I mean, isn't it a beautiful thing to see him in there getting his revenge on Shane Taylor Promotions, going one-on-one, or going, I guess, a tag match with Shane Taylor is what it was. He was teaming up with Daniel Garcia. I don't really know. I didn't put much effort into it, but you just got to love those beautiful chops from Shibata on the Shane Taylor as Daniel Garcia dances in the background. And this is AEW, where the best wrestle, but
A
yeah.
man that came back from injury. Injured in Frisco, mind you. I was at that show and I seen what happened. It was horrible. To turn around and what was supposed to be a great return is now a complete joke. The wrestler's wrestler, a joke. Thank you, Tony. You mark.
And also remember, Tony actually likes Shibata. If you've watched him during his scrums, every time he's praising Shibata, and just
He praises everybody.
yes,
Everybody.
yes,
And he hugs
but
everybody.
yes.
And we saw that live on Dynamite this
One of those
week.
people he really tries to put over at the scrums.
Oh.
And this is what he does with one of his favorite toys.
Yeah, let's look at AEW's new world champion. AEW's new world champion, Swerve Strickland, coming off the biggest what's supposed to be the biggest pay-per-view for AEW this year, Dynasty. Supposed to be this big pay-per-view for the hardcore fans. For those fans, everybody's selling it. I don't know if it hit that mark, I guess, for whoever. But anyways, it's supposed to be a big Dynasty moment, the big crowning moment where Swerve finally beat Joe, won the AEW World Championship. And he gets regulated to a match with a Kyle Fletcher on Dynamite. Kyle Fletcher, who's done what? And it's been pointed out that he hasn't won a match since October of 2023, like October 14th. He won a singles match. Otherwise, Kyle Fletcher has been jobbing out.
Isn't he a Ring of Honor TV title holder?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I think that's when he won that title.
He needs his tag partner, and they need to leave now, like ASAP. Back to Japan, please.
Well,
You
but
guys
they're
are
there
way
with their boy now, who's making the whole AEW scene change. I mean, that's Will Ospreay's boy, as you've seen the photo of him and Kyle Fletcher sharing a milkshake, putting in that real grind. Hey,
that's normal.
What do you mean that's normal? I mean,
pictures of all them in Japan together. That's normal.
Oh, okay, well, I haven't seen it, so
I saw the picture of them sharing a milkshake. That's what I was like, okay.
Kyle Fletcher gets a shot at.
Say anymore, guys. This is.
Kyle Fletcher gets a shot at Swerve and takes two of the moves that Joe took and still didn't get pinned. And I get trying to make a wrestler look good, give him a little bit of showcase, making Kyle Fletcher at least look like he's a contender. But I mean, it's like, this guy hasn't won anything. He hasn't done anything. It's just like, and you're not really going to do anything with him. And he's more known for his tag team matches. His tag team than being a real single star. Now, granted, he has, you can go on a singles run and be established as a single star, but I mean, AEW really hasn't established him as much of anything. And so he gets to go up against Swerve Strickland in a title eliminator match. It's not even a title match, it's a title eliminator match, so if you win. So what's the point of even calling an eliminator match, even though you're not going to let the person win? So I'm like, why? And then they want to proclaim Swerve as a fighting champion. And I'm like, I thought a fighting champion is when the champion defends the belt.
I'm more looking at Mr. Clark's reaction here, just losing all hope. Just all that hope behind his eyes.
I could. It's not even that. I could just see it in the disgust when he shakes his head. Just like, why are we talking about this? Why are we even here? Why do you have to? I can see it in his face. He's looking at me, going, "Why are we even talking about this? Why do we even have to discuss this?" But
somewhere at some point, we were on a pirate ship and we read the sign, "Abandon ye all hope." Okay.
Oh, so you went through the door at the funhouse. Is that what you're saying? You entered the other dimension beyond the door. It's all Bray Wyatt's fault, is what you're saying, because he opened that door to the funhouse and we all went through it at some point in time.
Well, we definitely went through the Twilight Zone, that's for sure.
I just want to know when we're going to get a still on a forklift match. That's what I want to know. That's all I want to know. They're fighting for custody of Orange Cassidy, and just want to know.
Are you done talking?
Why are we trying to establish Trent Beretta as a single star to begin with?
That shit's gone long ago. It should have been established a long time ago, but it's gone.
In a street fight that happened on Rampage, that was a second thought, afterthought.
But the fact that it's like, you're not, first of all, they weren't fighting over Orange Cassidy. They were just fighting because he got attacked. But what is Trent Beretta going to do as a quote-unquote single star as they continue this feud? Because, they're going to continue it.
Yes.
Like, they gave him the win. For what? Can you see him winning even the lower tier titles?
No.
They have lower tier titles in AEW? I thought all the titles were equal. Not one title was better than the other title.
There's Tony logic, and there's reality. Okay.
I'm just saying the way it's been presented. I mean,
what, we understand how Mr. Powder Sniff booking works, but again, then there's reality that the rest of us subscribe to.
So, Will Ospreay, if he beats Roderick Strong and wins the international title, is that a lower title than Will Ospreay should be crowned with? Or is Will Ospreay going to try to make that title important?
See, that's where I was going to go with it.
Can he make that title important? And then is he going to make that so important that they're going to bury the AEW World Champion around Sword Strickland? So who's going to be the most important champion come after Double or Nothing on AEW TV?
Who's got the Continental Crown title that we just...
Okada.
Do you remember the arguments we would have about the TNT title being more important than the world title?
Well, they had that for a while, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So, what could happen, what potentially could happen with the international title now if Will Ospreay wins it?
He's gonna win it. Can you really book yourself to have Roderick Strong beat Will Ospreay? Or are you gonna have it?
I don't know if Tony can.
Would you want it? Would that be the right move right now? Will Ospreay shouldn't be losing to anybody for anything until after he's... Will Ospreay shouldn't really be losing to anybody at any time until after he wins the World Championship. That's how I see it. That's the only star they have. If they let him lose, I don't know if he can carry that luster. Now, he could go into this international title. They could end it with a DQ by having Wardlow or somebody else intervene. And then it just seems like, what was the point of the match?
Right.
So I'm like, I don't know what they're going to do with that title match. I just feel like they put themselves into a really bad position because they're either going to have to bury Roderick Strong with Will Ospreay winning and running off with the title and make that title the most important title on the brand because it's going to be Will Ospreay's. Will Ospreay's going to be carrying it. Will Ospreay's the most popular star in their program. Will Ospreay is the guy. And then he's going to outshine Swerve Strickland, which is just going to bury Swerve Strickland worse than he's already kind of is. Because, I mean, if we talk about what he did on Saturday, where we got to hear from him for the first time, he put over Tony Khan's injury in the TV show and everything else other than his title reign and what he's going to do next and how important he is. He's playing this weird babyface when it's like, quit trying to fit him into the hole of a babyface. Let him be who he was that the fans love that turned him into a babyface. But no,
well, remember, Tony Khan said there's no such things as heels and baby faces. Everyone's the same.
The thing is, when you look at the character of Swerve, he is not a babyface. He can be cheered, don't get me wrong. People can love him, but he is not a classic white meat babyface.
No, he's a tweener.
The fact of what he went into Hangman's home, come on. Babyfaces don't do stuff like that.
Well, but that's supposed to be forgotten,
and
obviously.
He's acknowledged that he's done some things that he had to do to get to where he is now. And I think that was the smart move to say that. But it's okay to be whatever this character is and not be an official babyface, whether he's being cheered or not.
He needs to be more of an anti-hero. He needs to be, in that level of the heroes that'll have to do the dirty stuff or do the bad stuff to get over. I mean, he fits in the world of, like Deadpool and Wolverine. They're guys that, they're good, but still, if they've got to get dirty, they're going to get their hands dirty.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that completely.
Comparisons, because some people like to compare themselves to Pepsi. My ass. So I guess since we're there, we'll jump into
the
this.
Diet Coke of pro wrestling.
Tony Khan is nowhere near Diet Coke. Okay, he's not Pepsi. The closest cola soda he might be is RC Cola, because they have a cult-like following and pop up every once in a while around somewhere. Thank you very much for the point. That's about the only cola. If you want to really be honest, Tony Khan might be like Dr. Pepper. He's an outsider brand that a group of people like that tastes good every once in a while. Well, I know. I would say TNA is more of your Dr. Pepper. I'm going to offend one of you because I either got to say TNA is your Dr. Pepper, your teenage, your A&W, or AEW is your Dr. Pepper, or AEW is your A&W root beer. So I go after Dr. Pepper, you're offended. I go after root beer, Mr. Clarke should be offended. So, I mean, what you want to say? Tony Khan is not
Tony Khan's face right here, RC.
Tony Khan and AEW are nowhere near being
Dollar Tree special.
Tony Khan and AEW are nowhere near being a Pepsi. They can say they're a challenger brand and they're a far off challenger brand, but they're not Pepsi. Even WCW was closer to being a Pepsi than AEW can dream of being. At least, when New Coke came out and Pepsi was smashing the crap out of Coke, WCW beat AEW for 83 weeks, as we know infamously. AEW can't even get their feet under their ground to get there. They had that in 2019? And somewhat in the beginning pandemic, the greatest thing.
The 99-cent store and going out of business here anytime soon if they keep going the way they are.
They're not going to go out of business. AEW's got too much money behind them. Until Shad Khan pulls the bank account, Tony's fine.
See, I don't know about that, only because you can have all the money in the world, but if you ain't got a platform to put your show on, why was he not able to buy WCW? Not because he didn't have the money backing him, but because he didn't have a distributor.
Okay, then I'll make this point. How does TNA still hang around?
Because they have a distributor.
And AEW will find a distributor. AEW will find a distributor. There's even talks that Tony Khan's trying to start his own network. So don't be surprised if we don't get the AEW streaming network just to keep AEW TV on some type of thing. There's too much money there that they have that's just stupid. But I mean, somebody will pick up AEW and put it on TV. There are plenty of channels out there to pick it up and get the ratings for what it is. There's TV channels that'll take those ratings that are what they are and say, hey, at least that'll get people on our attention. Of course, you might have to buy 18 million packages on your satellite distribution thing, or buy the super pack on Hulu, or whatever streaming service or provider you get your TV from. But I mean, they'll find it. I mean, you got Destination America, or TNA's on Axis. Like who? What? What? I mean, what else is out there? I mean, some obscure. I mean, maybe AEW can work with Tubi or Pluto or one of these other brands to get their TV product on there. I don't think they won't find it. I don't think they won't find a distributor to put AEW out. I just think AEW is going to be there. Whether it's good or not, it'll be a whole different thing. Whether they lose all their big stars because now they don't have that money, it may be a different thing too. But yeah, no, Tony Khan's somewhere near Pepsi. I mean, the closest thing I can't even. He's some off-name soda brand that's like existence. That's it's like nice. It's that's why I went down the road to Dr. Pepper, because it's like nice to have a Dr. Pepper every once in a while. It's there. It gets a nice little market value out of the shares, but it doesn't really compete against Coke or Pepsi. Tony Khan's not even in there. The only reason he's a second number 2 is because he has more money than TNA. And if TNA would get their act together, TNA might be able to take out AEW and become number 2. That's where Tony Khan's eyes should be, is competing with TNA. That's the level he's at. Those are the 2 brands that are sitting at number 2. They don't have any right to really compete with WWE right now. Could they someday? Maybe, if they got their crap together. And the fact of the matter that Tony Khan wants to come out here and publicly call WWE evil, labeling a whole brand as evil because of a guy, is fucking ridiculous. And then when he wants to make the statements that they're Pepsi and that WWE's Harvey Weinstein.
That was sorry. My bad.
Everybody wants to say WWE takes shots at AEW, and people want to justify that Tony Khan's statements. You're taking an action of a very few select people within WWE and labeling the whole company that. So you're bearing all the talent, all the people who are right there, and everybody who's trying to change that product and throwing them into the sink and a direct shot. WWE has never directly taken a shot at AEW, and if it's a shot, it's a slight shot that's around the bend that we all laugh at and go, ha ha. WWE, you know why doesn't WWE doesn't see AEW as a second as a competitor? Because AEW is not on that level, and WWE doesn't give a damn. They're like, oh, you're there. In the beginning, when Vince was competing with them, and they were actually doing something because Vince was ruining the company, and people are like, oh, this is different. This is something nice. I can see where there was a little bit of argument there, but once Triple H stepped up and took over and got everything running with WWE, and that was probably the death, the doomsday for AEW, is when Triple H took over, because Triple H does have a little bit of a vendetta to make himself look better than AEW, and he's been doing a damn good job. And the bottom line fact is, AEW is not on that level anymore. Where they're going, I don't know. But Triple H isn't looking at them as competition. He's looking at his brand going, what can I make this brand better? What do I need to make changes to make this go forward? And then if we look at AEW, Tony Khan, don't you have a guy by the name of Ric Flair who's been proven to harass women in a sexual nature by playing helicopter? Let alone we have issues with Chris Jericho. And then when rumors and speculation came in about Chris Jericho and somebody signing NDA, what did you do? No, you didn't take him off of TV. You shoved him down everybody's throats even more and still have him on TV when you have crowds chanting, go away, Chris, retire, Jericho, Fozzy sucks. You still want to put this guy out there, put a title on him. This is ridiculous, and you want to make this comparison, and it's out of line. I don't care what shots WWE took at you. You didn't have a right to go to that point. You didn't have a right to go for it directly. I know you want to call WWE evil, and you want to say that you know what? Here's the bullshit. Tony Khan likes to play the victim card. This mother trucker thinks he is a victim and plays this victim card. AEW is constantly on attack. Look at us. He wants to put them in the little underdog. AEW is the underdog. Look at everything we have to fight against. You ain't fighting against crap. Don't give me this bullshit. You're not an underdog. You may not be competing on the second level, but you're not an underdog.
There was actually a soundbite of him comparing himself to when Jim Crockett was competing with WWE over pay-per-view rights. And he was like, the difference between me and them is I have more money. That's fine. You can have all the money in the world, but what's that going to do for you if your product isn't drawing anything?
What has more money done for you, Tony Khan? You got Mercedes Moné, Kazuchika Okada, and Will Ospreay. Tell me anything any of those three men have done. Oh, Okada won the international or the Continental Crown, which meant what? Nothing. After your tournament, after that moment, and then you just squashed Eddie Kingston for nothing. Eddie Kingston's now a side joke, being third best on a team with Adam Copeland and Mark Briscoe. So Kingston's already fell way down the ladder to being non-existent and non-important. Will Ospreay's the only.
Excited for this. Real quick. They're promoting this match. I'm pretty sure y'all seen it. The Cope Open will have Adam Copeland and Malachi Black.
It's not Malachi Black.
For the TNT
last
title.
I heard it was going to be one of the members of the.
It's going to be one of the members of House of Black.
But it's looking like. But still, like, why? This is what you're doing to somebody who was supposed to draw for you.
Yes, but okay. You got to go through the storyline. He got misted in the face, and they lost the six-man tag. So he got misted in the face, and of course now they're going back that the TBS and TNT title are open challenges. They're not. There's no ranking. The whole point of that title, in Tony Khan's words, is for people to the outside to come in and challenge that. Anybody can challenge for those titles at any point in time. So per storyline, one of the members of House of Black, especially after Collision, are going to challenge Copeland, which I'm assuming you're probably going to get Copeland versus Buddy Matthews, then Copeland versus Brody King, probably leading to double nothing against Malachi Black. So he's going to work through the House of Black. That's the storyline there. And everybody who's still sitting here going, the Edge or the Adam Copeland Christian Cage story is not over. Well, what happened to Christian Cage? What happened to Killswitch, Nick Wayne, and Nick Wayne's mommy?
He's relegated to Soraya's TikTok crap.
I mean,
that's right.
I mean, you had a storyline. You built Christian Cage, and now you haven't seen Christian Cage come out and say nothing. No rebuttal to losing the title. What happened to Joe? Every champion that comes into AEW after they lose the title become nothing. What happened to Saraya? She won the AEW's Women's World Champion last August, right? 8 months later now, right? Where is she? Regulated to being the backup to her brother's manager, I guess, for lack of a better statement. Where's your former AEW World Champion, Hangman Adam Page? What's the last real solid memory you have of him doing anything? Pretty much getting choked out by Swerve Strickland and then getting choked out by Samoa Joe and tapping out going, I kept you from winning the title? Where's your last former champion before Joe? MJF. They don't even narrowly acknowledge this man on TV.
FJM?
Who else?
What?
Who else has been a champion that has any precedence? Where's your first AEW World Champion now? He's an FTW champion?
He should be off my TV. That's where he should be.
Talk about champions. Swerve Strickland just achieved this big moment, and AEW has not given him the proper celebration. He tries to sell it as being the first black man to win the AEW World Championship, but it hasn't really felt like that coronation of what he deserves. And then what happens on Dynamite, he's regulated to the opening match or the second slot on the show behind a weird Chuck Taylor, Trent Beretta, Orange Cassidy moment that really didn't do anything to have a match with Kyle Fletcher, who's a nobody in AEW at least. And if you like Kyle Fletcher, I'm not trying to bash on the talent, but he hasn't done anything to even earn an eliminator match. He hasn't done anything to be impressive. I mean, he just lost to Will Ospreay. So, I mean, Kyle Fletcher's not even in the rankings. Rankings work, not work. I mean, how does somebody just get an eliminator match that doesn't have any purpose or reason for being there? So then that's it. But also on that same show, you have Jon Moxley defending the IWGP Championship against Powerhouse Hobbs. Now, I know you guys love Powerhouse Hobbs. Big Bay area boy. You know, he has a lot of history here. But what has Powerhouse Hobbs done to earn IWGP Championship match? Mr. Miguel, you're the New Japan Pro Wrestling guy. Tell me what Powerhouse Hobbs has done to be an IWGP champion or even have a shot at that title.
Last time I checked, he was duct taped to a damn rope. Got it.
Mr. Clarke, is there anything you want to say to this? Because I can see you're just like...
I actually want to circle back.
Go ahead.
The last time anyone publicly took a shot at AEW, and it wasn't even taking a shot. All that was said was, by redacted, was that AEW wasn't competition. And they're not. We've all, on this show, acknowledged that and have spread the gospel time and time again. When Tony Khan talks about being Pepsi, being, number 2 promotion, being the challenger brand, that's all he was saying. You and the CM Punk and Pepsi and going on that whole thing, like you're going beyond what Tony Khan was trying to say. Now, is it a long distance between WWE and AEW? Oh, heck yes. Being number 2 is not saying much, and you're right. The only real competition AEW has is TNA. And the way they're going, in the longevity of it all, TNA may surpass them, and without having as much money as Tony Khan has.
Well, and let's talk about it. I mean, how many billionaires have gotten into the arena of quote-unquote facing WWE, for lack of a better analysis here? But how many billionaires have jumped in that ring and lost? Ted Turner, multi-billionaire, got in that ring.
Few, as far as billionaires.
And lost.
But
Dixie Carter had billions and got in the ring and lost.
Most of the competitors WWE's had was early on, when the territories were still around.
Well, yeah.
And they all lost.
Mm-hmm.
And
I can't even stories of those. We hear them all the time on podcasts.
I can't even give AEW. I can't even give AEW the credit of being even anywhere near on the same level as Crockett Promotions. Crockett Promotions did Southern wrestling at its best, and
Tony,
and they knew how to get eyes on the product, and they had different things. They brought in different people to run the show. Jim Crockett wasn't running the freaking show. He brought in a lot of people to do it. And some of them were really bad. We had Bill Watts there. We had the Pizza Hut guy whose name I can't remember at this point in time. We had Dusty Rhodes. You know, we had Ole Anderson. We've had different people at different times in this company running Jim Crockett Promotions. They lasted a long time.
Jake Roberts was a booker at one point.
And then, you know, Ted Turner bought out Crockett Promotions, turned it completely into WCW, and off it ran. And WCW existed for a very, from Crockett to WCW, it all ran and existed for a very long time. Of course, coming up on Dark Side of the Ring, we have Black Sunday, which is when Vince McMahon got with the Briscoes and bought their shares out of Georgia Championship Wrestling, and why, you know, they took over the Turner Network, and that's going to be an interesting video. But then Jim Crockett and Ted Turner, they revived it. We got WCW. WCW, even back in its days, wasn't great, but you still were entertained by WCW Saturday night at 6:05 on the Superstation. You still tuned in. You didn't sit here and like get totally invested with it, but it was just something nice to watch on Saturdays at 6:05 Eastern time. It was a good little show. It was just like watching Global Wrestling on ESPN every once in a while at noon when you were homesick or whatever. It was entertaining.
Global Wrestling Federation.
So, I mean, it wasn't the greatest of stuff, but it was something nice to watch. Bye-bye, Mr. Miguel.
I still watch WOW. Oh, there we go.
Okay, you're back.
There we go.
But,
I'm back.
Yeah,
Sorry,
you're
guys.
back.
I have kids home, so that means the Wi-Fi might act funky.
Anywho, I love Pepsi, and Tony Khan and AEW don't say Pepsi to me. That's my biggest gripe. And of course, they're just so far from it. It's like, why not focus on the competition you have and at least compete with TNA? Of course, I don't know. TNA may surpass. I mean, if TNA has a partnership with WWE, like it's being speculated, and we're seeing these little things happen, that may be more damaging to AEW than anything. That might be the smartest play by WWE if they really.
Well, in the same way that the WWF backed ECW in their war against WCW.
Yeah.
Like, we've seen this story before of how it could go.
Yeah. And we've seen the fall of Ted Turner. We saw the fall of Dixie Carter with TNA. How much longer does Tony get to do this stuff? And then Tony, the infamous one that says, I am never going to be an on-screen character. Proclaimed this many of times. That, oh no, I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to fall in that suit. Regardless of how the fallout comes, he made himself an on-screen TV character coming out and hugging Jack Perry. And it was stupid. It was the stupidest segment I had. I've seen it forever because, I mean, he didn't even come out and say anything. He didn't even say... He just forgave him. And the thing is, he's only the scapegoat because Tony Khan made him the scapegoat, because Tony Khan indefinitely suspended him and put the blame on Jack Perry, then showed the footage, which didn't really change a whole lot of people's perspective. Didn't do anything for the match. It reintroduced Jack Perry. Jack Perry came back to a mid-grade reception. He came out the other night and got the "Oh, Cry Me a River" singing chant, but that wasn't that's a very small audience. And it was a super small audience in Daly's place. And so you were playing to a hometown crowd. So I get that the chant may have been a little big, but it didn't really last that long. If you look at AEW, if you notice with their chants, they come in and then they quickly die. It's like they hit this, at least in WWE, those chants go and come and go. And, AEW, it's like those chants are like so quick. It's like you get in and you're like, oh, it's over already. And then Tony Khan comes out there, and then the Elite come out there, and the Elite turn on Tony Khan, hit him with the Meltzer driver, a TK driver, the EVP driver. I don't know what the name of the move is anymore because I've heard it from so many different aspects.
Originally, it was the Meltzer driver.
Yes.
Last I heard, officially, it was the TK driver. But, some people haven't caught up on that as far as other podcasters.
No, I know. A lot of people, I'm just going, some people have called it the Meltzer driver. I'm like, the last I heard, they changed it to the TK driver. That's why the EVP trigger, it used to be the Meltzer trigger, or they all had they had their names. Now, anyways. So the Elite turn, there's comparisons to like an NWS thing they're going to take over, but I'm like, there's no impact here. Who cares about the Young Bucks? Unless you're a hardcore AEW fan. This isn't driving more attendance. And then I looked at it and realized Tony Khan planned this out. Because he knew if he were to go on screen, take an injury, he's wearing a neck brace, he got all the free publicity. He thinks going around on national TV wearing a neck brace during the NFL draft talking about AEW, because that's what gave him all this free press, is going to draw eyes to AEW. And I don't think anybody cares. I think there's a whole world of people going, yay, good job, Tony, you got injured. That's yay. Some people are probably going to be pissed that it wasn't real. And then this man's going on.
More than that, more like that.
And then he's going on national TV with his neck brace on Collision after it's announced that he won't be seen on TV. Then he's announced that he's, he suffered head and neck trauma or neck injuries. Not a broken neck. Let's clear that up. Anybody who thinks Tony Khan's neck's broken is retarded, and he's nowhere near a Kurt Angle. But anyways, then he goes out on national TV on Collision or whatever it was with Daniel Garcia and dances in the neck brace, going, acting like it hurts. I'm like, fool. Why is this mother trucker just got dropped on his head and still smiling like a 12-year-old kid? Like they show the cameras of it, and I guess the worst part is NFL Films is following him around during the draft because they're going to do a whole documentary behind either the Khans or Tony Khan. So this was all a publicity stunt. So my other thing is this storyline might not last that long because it was more about a storyline to get Tony Khan in a neck brace for the NFL draft and get attention because they were going to be on TV for the draft. And you think this is going to pull people over from the draft, from football, to come watch him? What a complete waste. And then the storyline's just going to disevolve because there's nothing. Yeah. I mean, who's around right now that the Elite can fight? Kenny Omega is still out. We have not heard if he's cleared. So, I mean, he could come in and be an authority figure. But again, I don't think...
I don't have a stack of action figures in front of me, so I can't plan like Tony Khan, who's left. So,
But, I mean, Kenny Omega is an authority figure. Can you really buy that? I mean, yes, I'm sure Kenny Omega can go out there and give it an old college try, but I just don't feel that's the right role for Kenny Omega. Now, if he's cleared to wrestle and he's going to help create a team to go take down the Elite, that's fine. But again, let's talk about what the difference in the NWO and why it was successful and how this isn't successful. The NWO had levels and layers to it. It didn't just happen in one night. We first got Scott Hall showing up, coming through the crowd, over the barricade, into the ring, in the middle of a match, which was one of the best ways of doing that because nobody knew what was going on. Like, hey, that's Razor Ramon. What is he doing in WCW? And he came from the crowd dressed in street clothes, and he climbed in the ring, and he made a statement. And then every week after that, until they brought in Nash, they built another layer to it. They let it simmer. They let it cook. They let you try to figure out what was going on. Then they talked about the third man. How does this have anything to do with that when we weren't even teased to a point that we would get? I mean, we knew Jack Perry and Tony Khan being in the ring. There might be something funky like a monkey, but I don't think anybody really predicted this fallout. And it's like, why wouldn't you cook this up to Double or Nothing at least? Like, at least bring Jack Perry back and maybe have Jack Perry. I wish he would have kicked him in the nuts or something than that stupid punch because Tony Khan and him getting punched and just going, I mean, flat back failed from a punch. And then lay there like he was comatose, and then suddenly woke up like, oh, I'm like, that's not how that. Anyways, maybe Jack Perry turning on Tony in that moment at first, and then having the Elite come act like they are aligned with Tony and chasing off Jack Perry. You could have cooked that, and then you could have slowly built just to have everybody turned on Tony and take him out. It was just like you quick rush that. So now you've killed any of your interest of building into it. And right now, who do you have to take down the Elite? Who is active on the roster that's around that you have to take down? You really is Hangman going to come in and save the day? Do you really see Hangman after everything we've last seen Hangman do? I mean, he's the Booch of the century in the company right now. He's the 2023 Booch Man of the Year. So, I mean, is he really going to be this viable guy who's going to be able to come in and take down the Elite just because they suspended him? Remember, they suspended Hangman and fired Omega. Go ahead, Mr. Clarke.
Right. Well, from the Elite, not from AEW. Yes.
No.
But maybe it takes a Kenny Omega to bring back the Hangman we actually liked. Because what they've done up to this point, obviously, like you said, Booch of the Year. But maybe they use Kenny Omega. It's also assuming they actually know how to write a good story, which that's a whole different argument. Because, I mean, they were tag team champions together. They were united at one time. Let alone their time as a part of the Elite, blah, blah, blah. So is Hangman a possibility? Yes. Is it look good at the moment? No.
No, that's my thing.
I mean, where we are with that.
he is a possibility, but I'm like, does he really do anything unless you bring? I mean, it's going to take a while to rebuild that character to be that. It's not like you can bring Hangman in and stand him next to Omega, like, we're going to take you guys down, because it's just kind of like, okay, yeah. And I guess they can bring in what Golden Lover Boy, Bicycle Man. I ride my bicycle.
Kota Ibushi.
There you go.
Kota Ibushi.
I guess that'll be the team that's going to, and that's even an outsider. I mean, it's kind of like, okay, I guess you can bring him in. I mean, I guess, yes, he is an AEW wrestler, but he's really like not, I mean, shouldn't this be like some of the like true in AEW, they bleed AEW, true in pride, and not pride and powerful, but, you know, not that team, but, you know, this should be like some of your.
I know where you're going with it. I get it.
No, we get it.
And we know Darby Allin can't do it because Darby Allin's still injuring from a foot and now getting hit by a bus trying to walk across the street in New York with a boot on. He gets hit by a bus going to a Broadway show. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Darby Allin got hit by a bus trying to go to a Broadway show. I know that sounds odd in some context, but then it sounds so much like a Darby Allin thing. Darby Allin definitely can't come in there and be the savior. I mean, is Orange Cassidy going to be the thing that takes down the Elite? Is this how we make Orange Cassidy the superhero, the next world champion in AEW by making him, you know?
No, don't put that out there.
Okay, then tell me who they have that is going to be the ones that are going to take down the Elite.
I don't know, but don't put that out there.
Let's go, Adam Copeland.
Adam Copeland's busy with the House of Black. He's going to play with them. He's been missed, and he's.
You know, there was a time when bookers knew how to put a single superstar against multiple storylines. They did in ECW all the time.
But AEW doesn't have any. It's like you have the storyline of these heels that are going to take over, but you don't have anybody to really bounce off of it. And it's like Tony Khan, he's going to be gone, so how are they going to manage this? Now, granted, I guess, you know, Mr. Cart said this at one point, I think more off-air, they can always bring Sting back. So are we going to get face-painted Sting, or is Sting going to be more like TNA time, where he didn't wear the face paint, but he was still Sting? Are we going to get a more Steve Borden Sting authority figure?
Yes, that was off-air, and that would be more like in a authority role as opposed to being a wrestler now that he's retired.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Retired from wrestling, period, as we understand it.
But see,
I just want that clarified for our audience.
I know, but here's the catch I got. If you bring Steve Borden, whatever variation of this in to be an authority figure, a general manager, a commissioner, whatever title you may give him to try and stop the Elite, then you really have to align the best of the best with Sting. And then you have to pray that they don't get this wild hair and Sting doesn't get the wild itch that, oh, I want in on this.
I don't think you have to worry about that. Just the different interviews I've seen of his, you know, over the years, like once his mind is set on something, it's kind of that way.
I understand that, but there's always that probability, and I just don't know if Sting's the right. I guess in a way he's kind of AEW, but I just don't know if he's. We've seen Sting in an authority figure, and it's just never really, you know. It's not. I don't know if I can do it here at AEW. But I'm like, I can't look at anybody who's going to take this Elite group down. And then are we going to add members to the Elite? Is this going to be a growing thing? Are we really going to go NWO? Are they trying to bring... It's Tony Khan trying to do the Eric Bischoff thing and bring, quote-unquote, a Bullet Club-esque stable into AEW, which is another heel stable with a company that's already... okay, go ahead. You shake your head like, no, but I'm like, if it's...
Well, no, the reason why I'm shaking my head no is because Bullet Club does not exist in AEW. You don't see Bullet Club Gold anymore. You hear about the Bang Bang Gang.
Yes.
That branding is going out the window for some reason.
Yes. Well, I'm not saying it's
going. You're talking about more. You're talking about more like format than you are the actual stable. I understand that.
No.
But I'm saying it's like it's going out the window no matter how you look at it.
Yeah, no, the Bullet Club name is gone, but I'm just like, I'm talking, are they going to be the NWO, or are they going to be the Bullet Club, or are they going to keep adding members to this Elite group, because this is Tony Khan's idea of some way of taking things over, or having this corporate takeover, which we've seen a million times.
Hell, they're not even the BWO, come on.
Well, hell, they're not even aces and eights.
BWO was a comedy parody of the NWO.
I know.
In ECW.
I don't know who you have to stop these guys. I don't know where this
was a better stable.
And here's the other factor somebody's pointing out. AEW is heavy with heel factions. There's no babyface factions right now in AEW. You have the Undisputed Kingdom, which is supposed to be a heel faction, which is pretty much dead and just kind of exists, but doesn't really feel like an important. The House of Black is supposed to be heel stable, but
Also doesn't help that Julia Hart's out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because of injury.
So
Like their best stable mate that was used is now out, so they haven't made the rest of the House of Black look all that good.
No.
You know.
No, we're in a bad place. We're definitely heading into a place. Like, I don't know how it's like if you're gonna do a takeover, or if you're gonna have a whole big heel stable like this come over and take out the boss, you usually have to have some baby faces to stand up against it. I'm like, right now, looking at it today, you don't have anybody available really as a big baby face that is going to feel like. I mean, the AEW faithful will get behind anybody that's on Tony Khan's side, because they're, honestly, I think it's, the tribalism, a lot of the tribalism gets traded by Tony Khan making this divide and saying, oh, we're this and we're the underdogs and look at us, we're the victims, we're always under attack, we're poor, look at us. It's like, no, you're not. Quit pretending you're a victim. You're not. Quit letting what WWE says to you influence how you feel about shit. You're too worried about CM Punk and Triple H and all this other shit, and they call you not competition. And you turn around and prove them right, and then you get mad because you proved them right, and then you got to be like, oh, they're always attacking us. We're on constant attack. And I hate talking down about AEW, but this is the reality. If I don't give you the truth and the honest opinion, then I'm just lying, and I'm no better than AEW. Tony, I want to see you do better. You did better in the beginning. Then all of a sudden, you just got off on some tangent of playing with your favorite toys and making it about you and not what the fans want. That's honestly what it is. And tell me, Tony, I mean, honestly, somebody, who do you have? Who do you have that are the strong baby faces that your fans can truly get behind and go, they're going to be able to take out the Elite?
That's a good question, but it's not that he's not placating to his fans. It's that he's not drawing in more fans.
No.
I think it's the bigger issue, because the people who are staying are obviously the fans, are obviously watching it.
And even his fans are leaving him.
Dwindling down because they're, yes.
I mean, they went way down in the ratings this past Dynamite, and people are going, ratings don't matter. I'm going, well, ratings have something to do with something, because if people aren't watching, then they're tuning out, regardless of who they're competing against. Here's the thing. They might have the highest ratings, but it shouldn't matter who they're competing against. You should still have captivated TV that makes your people tune in. And you're not even increasing. You keep going lower.
No.
And right now, you can have your hardcore fan base, and that's great. But even who do you give to your hardcore fan base that they really believe is going to be able to take down the Elite?
Orange Cassidy. No, I'm playing.
I mean,
they may have to bring someone from AEW. I mean, they may have to bring someone from Ring of Honor, like, I don't know, Athena. They're top star.
Oh.
Athena's going to take down the Elite.
Well, I mean, if Maki Ito can challenge men in street fights, then yeah.
Do you think they'll use Moxley in that to take down the Elite? Of course, Moxley's worried about the Don Callis family, so we don't know where that's going.
Right.
I
just may have to drag Moxley and the Blackpool Combat Club into it, but yeah.
That really it's.
Which, has anyone seen where the fuck Wheeler Yuta is?
Who?
I haven't even heard of that fool even on ROH.
Who? I think I used to know that name.
That's the point, I guess.
Yeah.
Do we need to put out wanted posters? Or missing missing persons photos and stuff? Anyways.
Milk cartons, there you go.
Anyways. Mr. Z, why don't you tell us what's coming up on New Japan Rebound Podcast this Tuesday?
Yeah, we're still on the road to Wrestling Done Talks. The main event, there was only one event that I was able to talk about because that's all that in until tonight. Main event of that match was that night we had David Finlay and Hiromu Takahashi. We've been getting a lot of Bullet Club War Dogs and LIJ, so it's been panning out pretty good. And obviously, folks, I do go on a small rant about Tony Khan there too, as well, because Yoda Tsuji, some people are saying that he was out of line for talking about how AEW presents New Japan Wrestling. I think not.
So,
but yeah,
do you have any?
We'll talk about more Road to Dontaku.
Do you have any more speculation or news or any information coming to the woodwinds about New Japan maybe ending their partnership with AEW?
I've heard some rumblings, but I haven't been able to find much about it. But when I do, I will be reporting on that as well.
I have heard that Tony Khan's kind of pissed off the wrong people in New Japan Pro Wrestling. New Japan Pro Wrestling may be pulling away from working as much with AEW at this time because of some of the stuff. Not to say that we won't see some of the stars come over for Forbidden Door, but it doesn't look like their partnership as strong as it once was. And I guess part of that's even, there issues between CMLL and New Japan?
Yes, there was. Kenny Omega was the reason for that too.
I believe that that was another aspect. Like that was kind of the first thing that kind of soured New Japan on Tony Khan was he started working with CMLL.
That was because because they had a bad falling out after Kenny Omega won their big title and carrying their title on air along with the U.S. title. They had a problem with that.
Alrighty.
That's weird.
Well, I just know that there seems to be some friction there, and New Japan and Tony Khan may not be, or AEW may not be on that same page anymore, and so it'll be very interesting what the future holds in that endeavor. Gentlemen.
Also consider Tanahashi has publicly praised WWE for being able to make stars, and they are, at the time, being an AEW partner, meaning New Japan.
Yeah.
So the fact that they've praised the competition, quote unquote, the top brand, if you will.
This is their president, dude. This is somebody that's worked with himself.
No, there seems to be a transition and a big change. And we've seen TNA walk away from AEW, and now we see TNA in the rumor mill speculating that they're working with WWE in the future. A lot of rumbles that Jordan Grace either
don't forget has also opted to end up in a partnership with them.
You cut out on all that.
Pro Wrestling Noah has talked of partnership with WWE as well.
Okay. And of course,
Noah at the point.
We know what's his name left Stardom, and now he's going on with Julia. Julia's going to be working with WWE, but she's also going to help. I can't think of his name from Stardom. Help
with the Marigold promotion.
Yeah, start a new promotion there, and so now Stardom seems to be transitioning themselves as a new partner to AEW, and I hear that even Stardom's working with them is kind of soured with New Japan Pro Wrestling too. So.
Well, I mean, they're owned by the same parent company, so who knows on that one.
But anyways, on the bigger news, Drew McIntyre's re-sign is announced on The Rock on, I guess, Instagram, oddly enough. It was announced that Drew McIntyre has re-signed with the WWE. WWE finally getting these long-term contracts after they fired the senior director of talent, or the person that was supposed to be behind these contract signings that I guess everybody was complaining about. They fired him. Shawn Michaels stepped up into a bigger role. And now we've got Drew McIntyre signed, which we thought, how long is it going to take to get this? A few more names. We know Finn Balor finally re-signed. I believe AJ re-signed. So now we're kind of looking at the Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch as the final couple of names. It looks like Sheamus is here to stay around. So looks like WWE is going to be fine, but we know officially Drew McIntyre is re-signed, which is we've gotten that heavy feel anyways as his story has progressed. And he's headed in the right direction. He's definitely feeling like he's going to get not a Roman Reigns storyline, but he's getting the attention, to a story like Roman Reigns was getting. His story is very high on the card, and they're definitely keeping him in the upper echelon of storylines as we progress forward, which I think is something that we knew Drew McIntyre wanted. He's like, I want to be presented or looked at as a Roman Reigns. Like, I want to have one of the top storylines in WWE. Right now, he does. He has a great storyline going with the future of CM Punk.
Mm-hmm.
The fact is, if he didn't resign with WWE, he'd be leaving too much money on the table with CM Punk, with Seth Rollins, with you name someone, and he can make it work.
Yes.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So there's good news there.
And right now, him and Sheamus kind of have something going on right now too, which is good. So,
well,
they're kind of in that will they, won't they have another match again?
Well, I think they're going to continue that. They're waiting for Punk to come back, but they got to give him something in the meantime, and bringing Sheamus back to do that.
Right.
It's the perfect guy to hold on to that. Cody Rhodes possibly injured in this match from SmackDown. Hopefully it wasn't severe and that he's not completely out. He fell bad on his shoulder when they did that double springboard. And, of course, a lot of people want to cop off going, oh, they were trying to be when him and Carmelo Hayes both bounced off the ropes that one. Oh, well, look, they're trying to be like Will Ospreay and Daniel Bryan doing these moves. Blah, 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 blah. I'm just like, this is getting like they even called Ilya Dragunov and Trick Williams, where they both hit each other at the same time. Oh, they're doing the same thing. I'm just like, they're not copying AEW. They're doing their thing. And a lot of that, it's not in WWE nowadays. It's not like everything is booked by somebody else. It's the wrestlers. And yes, they sit down with somebody who helps them put it all together, but it's the wrestlers who are doing it. So if the wrestlers said, hey, I kind of like what they did, and they add it into their match, is it really copying or is it just plain praise? Can we like not look at it as they're trying to? It's not WWE trying to copy AEW. It's wrestlers seeing something that worked on another company, going, "Hey, let's give our own spin on this," which to me is more of a praise of like, "Hey, they thought that idea was a good idea, so they're going to add it into their match." So the tribalistic idea of that this is copying, get over it.
And there's nothing really original under the sun to begin with, so
no.
There's nothing new out there.
No, it's been done for years and centuries, and it's been going on forever. So, I mean, God, I wonder what would have happened back in the days of Greco-Roman wrestling in the Roman Coliseum if you would have had two companies conversing one another and somebody did a suplex, a German. Oh,